So, some thoughts on that, Neil and
So any institutional investor is going to take more than 40% of your capital in the first round is someone who would not deal with. Just general advice. I don't think greed is an issue because you're partnering with, it's like a marriage. Our average holding period of a company is 6 years. So the issue is not about the pie that's on the table and who gets what slice, but growing the pie for everyone involved. And I think the greed issue doesn't enter it so much as the issue that we have the intent to align incentives with the entrepreneurs. So we try to, and it's becoming more and more common that in the second round you actually take some money off the table. You actually get a bit of secondary out of the company because you then have a similar risk profile to your institutional investor. But I think incentive alignment is key, and that's what you should be looking for in the person you're dealing with. If he looks out for that, then you know everyone around the table is going to make money.
Legal perspective. Interesting question. I second what they both said. You've done a lot of deals, and the best company is the people that have the best people and the best venture partners. And I also think that venture capital, although it may seem to be a lot, is probably the least expensive money you'll have to take in terms of what you have to give back. So, you're in a situation where you probably can't get a bank loan. Venture debt is very expensive. And if you have the right venture partners, they add a lot of value and they really help your company. And it's like that MasterCard commercial, holiday with the wife, 5,000 pounds. The right board seat, priceless.
Good. Other questions? Yeah.
Vladimir Dimitrov, Microsoft. I would like to ask Peter a little bit more about his wider network. You said that when you had 1 million registered users, you felt a little bit more relaxed on working a lot. And I would like to ask a little bit more about key milestones, how you came to 1 million users and how it was in your company, and a little bit in more details. Thank you.
So we set up the company in the UK in September 2002, and we managed to raise £10,000 from an entrepreneur who had already made his money on a business called Friends United. £10,000 for us at the time was a lot of money. We managed to buy a server. We paid a designer about £1,000 to design the whole look and feel of the site. And we paid one of my friends about £250 for the logo, which is the same logo we use today. And the rest was probably just living expenses on top of our salary. But that was, it's very important to bootstrap your company from the early stages, and it gets you to the thinking of how am I going to make this into a real business rather than just how do I raise the next amount of money. And so we had to be a bit patient as we were working full time. We launched the first version of the site in May 2003, so it took us about 5 months. The site at that point was very basic, but we continually refined the product based on feedback, based on our own ideas, and it took us about 1.5 years to get to a point where we reached the second stage, where we actually raised another £15,000. Again, to us that was a lot of money, but we used that £15,000 to invest on what we suddenly discovered to be a new idea, which was Google AdWords. At the time, we worked out if we spend 4p to acquire a customer, we can get them to join and add a photo and become potentially an active user. Now, there was no return on investment on this model, so people weren't paying us at that point. But it gave us some kind of momentum to build up some content and engagement on the site. I don't think you can do that now because it's more competitive to get the same customer for that money. But at the time, it helped us get to 50,000 users for £15,000. At that point, we still realised that this is not going to scale in the way that we hope. So we have to go back to the thinking and how do we turn this into a bigger idea. And we looked in the, this is a big lesson for us, and we didn't have all the answers. We looked around on the internet, and we saw other companies like Friendster, High Five, and I don't think MySpace was even around. And they were growing really quickly. We're like, what is the secret? Why are they growing so quickly? And it became very apparent that they had developed this way where you can invite your friends to join your network very easily by automatically adding all your friends. And we thought that's pretty cool. So we basically hired our Polish developer to come up with an equivalent to that. It took him a few months, but he worked it out. And literally, when we launched our new version of the site, which included that facility, the traffic went through the roof to the point where we couldn't actually cope with the demand. So unfortunately, fortunately, however you look at it, we had to turn off the traffic for most countries because the server just couldn't cope. Our one poor little server was just killing itself. And we had those lovely times of pulling hair out, sitting in data centers at 4 in the morning with the site not working, thinking, shit, what are we going to do? But these are good problems you could argue to have. And I think then it was about, we really learned what the model could do for us. There's conversion rates, there's churn, and you start understanding the mechanics and the drivers of your business. And it was then, over the period of the next